Hi, guys. How
Joanna,
you doing today?
Welcome to the
Welcome
in
back.
again.
Thank you.
Now, I ran into you recently, and you were telling me that you're doing something new. We went to the mediator because we reached a point where we knew we wanted to get divorced. The marriage was over.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing something new now of mediation to stay married?
It's called Marital Mediation, and it's mediation to stay married. It's not marriage counseling. It's a practical approach to resolving conflicts or problems that are causing stressors in the marriage and to hopefully save the marriage. It's for people who want to stay married, but they know that they've got some problems that maybe could use a little help solving.
So why is that different from marriage counseling?
That's a good question. It's different because it's not therapy. It has nothing to do with analyzing or the therapeutic process. And I'm not a therapist. I'm a lawyer. But as a lawyer, we see why marriages fail, and a lot of times they fail because of practical problems. Marriage counseling gets into your past. It gets into your personality. It's a therapeutic process. We don't do that. We give you we help you come to concrete solutions.
You know, the funny thing is, and because of my memory now, in fact, I don't even remember the woman's name. But
it was Linda. That's her name was Linda.
Oh, okay.
But when you married?
But I know we also went to a marriage counselor, and I remember actually the one thing I do remember was the both of us walking out of there, getting into the car together, looking at each other and laughing.
Yep.
Because we just didn't think that was going to do us any good. So there is a difference between the marriage counselor and the marriage mediator.
There really is. I mean, marriage counseling is great for a lot of people, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes all people really need is some practical help, some help communicating or resolving a very concrete issue, and not delving into more the deeper problems with personalities or that type of thing.
Well, you and I were just talking before you came in here. This helps an awful lot for things like impasses, conflict resolution, communication skills,
that's
financial
really important.
Issues. Yeah,
communication skills are key. You know, and sometimes mediation can help people learn how to communicate. Financial issues. I mean, that's not something that a marriage counselor would deal with, not necessarily. And being a lawyer mediator, we see a lot of the financial issues, and we're able to help people analyze those a lot better.
But conversely, you're not really going to get into sex issues or emotional issues or those kinds of things.
No, that's not our job. That's for the therapists, and that's why, often, therapy can go hand in hand with this type of thing, and maybe sometimes the two of them can help save the marriage. And I call it marital mediation, but it could be used for any couple, really. I mean, if they're together in a long-term relationship and they want to keep that long-term relationship, this tool can be used, marital mediation, couples mediation.
So how do you? Joanna Cobleigh is in the studio mediator for John used. But how does a couple decide though? If what would work best for us, unless you've tried both.
Well, I think if the couple says we're having trouble with our finances and how to spend our resources, that says a lot. And or we're having trouble communicating. That's often, but we want to stay married. We want to try to work it out, but we just need a little hand-holding, a little help. That's where we can come into play. The other thing that marital mediation is good for is putting together post-nuptial agreements. Post-nuptial agreements, it's kind of like a prenup, only you put it together after you're married. And so you can use marital mediation for that type of thing, too. So it's another facet of that.
The other thing I had asked you, because when you first approached me on this, you said you just started doing this. Mm-hmm. And I asked you if the concept was new. You said yes. So it's not been done long enough to have statistics yet.
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of, a lot of mediators out there kind of said, geez, let's see if this works. We have people coming to us and, we can use these techniques to maybe help them. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple that's walked away that has said, geez, it's too bad we couldn't have learned how to communicate with each other like this before. Maybe the marriage wouldn't have fallen apart. So this has been something in the back of a lot of mediators' minds for a long time.
But by not having statistics, you don't know yet whether or not they didn't get divorced anyway. And people might get divorced anyhow a year later, 2 years later. because of new problems. Whereas, if they come to a divorce mediator and they still end those sessions saying, okay, this isn't working, now we need your services as a mediator.
Right, and that's true too. At least they've given it a try. Maybe because they've come to see me or another marital mediation person, they can say, well, at least we can communicate better and get through the divorce process better. We know what the problems are. We tried. And, we just can't make it work, but that's okay. People move on. And like you said, divorce is not the end, and you guys can stay friends. And mediation is a great way to do that. Maybe marital mediation will help. Maybe it won't, but at least it's worth a shot to try to resolve some of those problems. And marital mediation is a much shorter term thing than therapy. It's usually it's 3 to 5 sessions of, getting together and trying to resolve the issues. It's not a long term involved therapeutic process. So.
And then is there maintenance after that? You might have 3 or 5 sessions and then say, okay, I want you guys to go and practice this, try and implement it, and then we'll meet again in 2 months.
That's often the case, just kind of a check-in to see if the plan that you put into action is working, or does it need tweaking, or maybe something else has come up, or maybe now we have this problem. So that can happen often, come back for another problem or tweaking or just a check-in. It's not automatic. It's really in the couple's hands, what they choose to do. They're the ones who are steering the boat, so to speak. We're just here to help them steer it.
What about couples? One thing we haven't talked about. What about couples with children? Do you have the ability to kind of work those problems out too?
Well, I think it depends on the problem. That's a good question. What is you're doing great today.
I'm hitting 100, batting 1,000 here.
It depends on the problems with the children. Obviously, if it's an underlying parenting issue, maybe talking about parenting techniques or whatever, sometimes that's better for a family counselor. But sometimes, again, practical solutions, how to spend the money, how to allocate the resources for the children, how to maybe come up with a practical parenting schedule when everybody's driving the kids in 10 different directions and you can't agree who's doing the work. I guess the answer is it a practical thing or is it a personality therapeutic thing?
So you would not say come to a marriage mediator, because I want to introduce another woman into our marriage and she's not cool with that.
I would be a little uncomfortable with that. Yeah. Yeah, just a little. But, sexual problems, that's often a question. Sexual problems, underlying personality problems, no, not really. I'm not a therapist.
I find, I don't know exactly how to broach this, and I don't want to just come right out and ask you, but I guess I should, because obviously I'm just stumbling along here now. Are you divorced?
I am. Well, I've been married for almost 21 years.
Okay.
Now. My current husband and I have been married for 21 years. But prior to that, I did get divorced. We were married for 8 years. We went through mediation. We were actually very, very early on one of the first mediated marriages in Springfield. And that went so well for us that's why I went to law school and became a mediator.
Okay, so you were divorced before you became one.
Yes.
All right, because, I could see where somebody might come into a mediator and say, are you divorced? And you say yes, and the person would say, well, if you couldn't save your own marriage, how are you going to save mine?
Yeah, I got married young, and we were good friends, and we still are. It's like you and Linda. We are very good friends. We talk a lot. We have actually, my husband and my kids have visited him out. He lives in California now, and we visit him out there.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, that's not how uncomfortable is that.
What, do you have dinners with him too?
Actually, yeah. But we're good friends, and that's I attribute that partly to mediation, and a lot to mediation.
But do you think it is still possible for a divorced person who got divorced while they were a mediator to still be able to? I think it would be, because you're not emotionally involved in that relationship.
Yeah, no, yeah. You have to stay detached.
Yeah.
You're there and you're there to help people, but ultimately it's their marriage. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who have to learn how to get along. They're the ones who have to learn how to communicate. So it is their marriage that they're trying to work out, or their relationship, or their kids. One of the sayings in mediation is we're there to help the two of you walk your child down the aisle, when it comes to that. And that's, a great tool for mediation.
The irony of we're here so that you can walk your child down the aisle, so that someday they'll come to me also, and I'll be able to help them through their divorce.
Always add the business card to the wedding invitation.
It's repeat business, have me on speed dial. There you go.
Joanna Cobleigh, if anyone were interested in mediation and want to contact you, what should they do?
Well, I'm in East Long Meadow here. My number is 413-224-2090. You can find me on the web at joannacobleigh.com. Or just do Google for me, Marital Mediation or Marital Mediation in East Long Meadow. And that's where I am.
And it's Cobleigh.
Cobleigh, and Joanna with an A at the end.
There you go.
Good to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
guys.
Joanna Cobleigh with Bax and O'Brien, a Rock 101.